It's been a while since the last time I've been up here, but it's sure good to be back. For a few minutes this evening, I'd like to talk on the subject of making God your hobby. First, I'd like to ask the question of what is a hobby? A hobby is something that we love to do and that we want to spend a lot of time in doing. Americans around the world have millions of different hobbies, stretching from stamp collecting to collecting endangered species. But we here tonight, and Christians around the world, we need to make God our hobby. If you have a Bible, I'd like you to turn to Psalms, the first chapter, and the first 3 verses. Starting in verse 1, "How blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, nor stand in the path of sinners, nor sit in the seat of scoffers. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law he meditates day and night, and he will be like a tree firmly planted by streams of water, which yield its fruit in its season, and its leaves does not wither, and whatever he does, he prospers." It says here in verse 2 that we should delight in God's word. In verse 2 also, we are to meditate day and night on his word. And if we do this, we will be like trees firmly planted in the word, like a tree firmly planted by the streams of water. Also in Psalms, the 18th chapter, verses 1 through 3 and verse 30. "I love thee, Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer. My God, my rock, in whom I take refuge, my shield and my horn of salvation, my stronghold. I call upon the Lord, who is worthy to be praised, and I am saved from my enemies." Now in verse 30, "As for God, his way is blameless. The word of the Lord is tried. He is a shield to all who take refuge in him." God is our strength. God is our shield. We can hide behind God. God will take us through. God shows here that he cares for us because he is going to be our shield and our protection. And so the least we could do is make him our favorite hobby. In the next chapter over, the 19th verse, I'd like to read verses 7 through 11. "The law of the Lord is perfect, restoring the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. The precepts of the Lord are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes. The fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of the Lord are true. They are righteous altogether. They are more desirable than gold, yes, than much fine gold. Sweeter also than honey, and the drippings of the honeycomb. Moreover, by them thy servant is warned. In keeping them there is great reward." These things in verse 7 through 9, the law, God's testimony, his precepts, his commandments, his judgments, and the fear of the Lord, it says in verse 9, in verse 10, that these are to be more desirable than gold. Gold now is almost near $500 an ounce, and that's pretty precious. And we're to love God more than that. That's an awful lot. If someone comes up to me and I'm at the dinner table, and I say, or he says, "Hey Lee, I've got this box of gold over here. You want to come take a look at it? And I'll give it to you." And you better believe I'm going to get up and go take a look at that gold, because that's a lot of money. But what if someone comes up to me and says, "Hey Lee, do you want to come study the Word of God with me?" What is the reaction of most people? No, I'm pretty tired. I had a rough day at work today. Let's study the Word of God tomorrow. That'll be a better time. But as God says, we're supposed to jump for it. We're supposed to want that like we want gold. Now over to the New Testament. If you would turn to Galatians, the 2nd chapter, and the 20th verse. I have been crucified with Christ, and it is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. And the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and delivered himself up for me. I'd like to read this passage again, and in substituting the word I'd like to put in self there. Starting over in verse 20, it's self has been crucified with Christ. And it is no longer self who lives, but Christ who lives within me. Jesus gave us his life for us. He didn't have to do that as he prayed in Gethsemane. But what we could do is we could dedicate ourselves to him and make God our hobby. The last verse for this evening, if you would turn to Luke, the 14th chapter, and I'll be reading from the 26th verse. Luke 14:26. If anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and mother and wife and children and brothers and sisters, yes, even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. Does the word here, hate, does that really mean that we're supposed to hate our family? No. It means compared to the love that we are to have for God, the love that we have for God is up here. And the love that we have for our family is on a lower level. And compared to the love we have for God, it would be a level of hate for our family. That shows there in that verse just how much we're supposed to love the Lord. In closing, we've read that we're supposed to delight in the Lord, that we're supposed to meditate on his word. We need God's strength to stand behind. We need his shield. We are to take God's word as more desirable than gold. And if we do these things, we will be planted like the tree, firmly in God's word. So tonight, we need to make God our favorite hobby. If there's anybody here tonight who has not made God his hobby, we stand ready to assist you. If you would come while we stand and sing the song of invitation.
No tears in heaven, no sorrows given, all will be glory in that land. There'll be no sadness, all will be gladness, when we shall join that happy band. No tears in heaven, no tears up there, sorrow and grief will all have flown. No tears in heaven, no tears up there, no tears in heaven will be known. Glory is waiting up yonder, where we shall spend that endless day. There with our Savior welfare, no tears in heaven will be known. Some mourning on earth will cease to ponder, for things this life has brought to view.